Hey there, my fellow author. I'm Sarah Elizabeth Sawyer, an old soul kind of writer living my dream as a full-time author and authorpreneur. But I didn't start out living a confident, creative lifestyle. I struggled with the fears and the mental and emotional barriers that so often plague writers at all stages of their author career. But the truth is that with the right knowledge, tools, and training, you can overcome those barriers. I'm here to teach you how I've developed a lifestyle that's allowed me to publish 19 books and counting. Each week, as you tune into the Confident Fiction Author podcast, you'll get clarity on the steps you need to take to advance your writing career. Whether it's developing your ideal writing routine, tackling new skills like dictating your fiction, or overcoming the obstacles life throws your way, this podcast will help you live a more confident, creative lifestyle. Let's get started. Hey there, my friend, and welcome to this week's episode of the Confident Fiction Author podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Elizabeth Sawyer, and today I'm going to be talking about how to plan a photo shoot for your author headshot. As many of you know, I am in the U.S., and it's pretty much springtime in Texas. This is an inspiring time of year for me. I get to get out, get more sunshine after being a little cooped up for the winter, and spring is a great time to do your author headshot. So if you are facing warmer weather in the coming weeks, in the next few months, not that you have to do an outdoor shoot, but you do have lots of sunshine, lots of opportunity for natural sunlight, and to also get some shots outdoors if that fits the theme of what you write and what you're wanting to put out there for your readers. I did my last author photo shoot in the spring of 2023. So I guess that's why it's on my mind today, and I wanted to share some things that I learned from this last photo shoot that will hopefully help you in planning your next one. Because if you're like me, you're probably not a huge fan of getting your picture taken. We are authors, not models, and we spend most of our time in our own little worlds, probably in our fuzzy, comfy clothes, talking to imaginary characters all day long. So while I'm not a huge fan of it, I'm probably more used to it than others with having a photographer as a mama, and she's always wanting me to pose for shots. But when it comes time to get serious about doing new author headshots, I like to procrastinate for about 10 years. Like seriously, that's how much time I spent between photo shoots for my author headshots. But if you listen to episode number 21 about making fiction writing effortless, you know I'm a fan of setting myself up so that I can do things without more hassle than it needs to be. So I like to make things as effortless as possible, and I want to do the same for you, especially if it's been 10 years or more since your last headshot session, or if you've never done a headshot session, you don't have an author headshot, and you know you need to get that because you're going to be publishing your first book or you're creating your author website, and everyone is asking you for that headshot. So let's get into how you can plan a photo shoot to get your author headshot done. Let's get into it. The first thing I did when planning my most recent author headshot, and what I recommend you do, is start an inspiration collection of photos. You can do a Pinterest board. You can even make it private. You can start a folder on your phone that you stick those photos in. Just have a place that you can gather photos together that's easy to access to get inspired for your photo shoot. What I really focused on was the types of poses in my collection. So I put in like headshots for women and author headshots. I started studying what other authors did for their headshots and for their photo shoots, and began collecting those in a folder on my computer that I could then go through with my photographer, which was my mother. So we went through that collection, and I talked through what I liked about the different poses and really observed how they were able to get the shot, what the angle was, what the setting was, what the expression was on the woman's face and really picking out what spoke to me emotionally. And I used that as a springboard to really think about what the look and feel was that I wanted to achieve with my headshots. And I say headshots, you're ultimately going to pick one, and you're going to use that consistently across your social media platforms, your website. When someone interviews you on their podcast and they ask for your headshot, you're going to pick one and send it and put it in all of those places. But you do want multiple ones to A, pick from and choose what that one shot is that you're going to use everywhere. And then B, you have all of those other shots to use on your website and in other places that calls for more than one photo or calls for a different type of photo of you. So pick a variety of poses and even settings that will really fit in your author brand, so that if you need one of you laughing, you have that. If you need one a more serious look, maybe it's going to go with a blog post that is touching on a more serious topic that you came across when you were researching your book, and you're going for something more contemplative or literary. So look at the different poses that would match your genre and your author brand, collect those in one place so that you can reference them and be able to share them with your photographer. Which brings us to the second thing, engaging a photographer. It doesn't have to be a professional, but get one if you can. I really do recommend that you engage a professional photographer, someone who really knows not only how to operate the camera, but how to direct you to get the best shot. So you've checked out the poses, you've developed the theme and all that you want for your author headshot and for your photos, but you have no way of knowing if you're really bringing those out or how it looks with you doing it without someone telling you. So a professional photographer should not only be taking your photos, but they should also be directing you in the best poses so that they can get the lighting, get the angle, and ultimately get the expression and the feel that you're going for with your photo. Depending on where you're at in your author career, you may not be in a place to spend the money on a professional photographer and a professional photo shoot. So look at getting someone who has great photography skills. There may be that friend that you follow on Instagram who is always posting beautiful photos. They're more pursuing it as a hobby, not a career, and they may be a great person to ask. And remember, bartering helps. So maybe you give them some books. Maybe if you're a published author, you give them some signed copies of your books. Even if they're not a reader, they can re-gift those to people. Give them a gift card just in some way, even if you aren't paying them or you're only paying them an honorarium of $50 or $100. Just give them something to show your appreciation for their time and probably their gas money that they spent on your photo shoot. So remember, if you don't have cash, you can't do a gift card or something, you can also barter for books, or maybe they're needing some content written for their own site, and that's something that you can offer them. All right, so that's the second thing, engage a photographer and set a date with them. Number 3 is practice your poses in the mirror, or get a family member to snap a couple of shots beforehand that you can review and make adjustments before you get into the photo shoot. This is something that I did at home before we went off for our photo shoot because we did go out of town, and I'll talk about that here in just a minute. But I wanted to see what my expressions actually looked like on camera or in the mirror before we got out on the photo shoot, because I wouldn't have any way of viewing that since I would be the one in front of the camera. And my mama was going to use her iPhone 14 Pro, which is essentially a replacement for her Nikon camera. I'll just say it did an outstanding job, but it is a very small screen. So I was only able to review the photos she took on a limited basis. I couldn't blow them up. I didn't have my computer with me. So I did want to make sure that I practiced those poses beforehand, got her input, got her direction on it before we got to the photo shoot, because once you start your photo shoot, you're going to have a limited amount of time. Your own time, your photographer's time, the weather or the location that you're at, or if you're renting a studio, once you get engaged in your photo shoot, you do have a finite amount of time, and you don't want to spend it all trying to get the right pose, checking how it looks on camera, and then trying it again. So it's good to go ahead and practice the poses that you think you want in your headshot and get those down to where you're comfortable in doing them in front of the camera. Number 4, decide on the look and feel you want. So this is going back to starting that inspiration collection. You want to really think about, how are you going to use these photos? And are they going to be for your author website? Are you going to need more than one? Are you going to need that variety that I talked about, where maybe you're having a more somber or a literary feel, a contemplative feel, where you're just looking out across the field and envisioning your story and your characters, and you're really drawing your reader into your expression and drawing them into the type of story world that you create. Or maybe you write suspense and thriller, so it's more of a dead-on look at the camera without a smile or anything. So just really thinking through your author brand and how you're going to use the photos is key in ending up with the right photos at the end. So think about, it's not just your headshot. You do want that headshot, from your shoulders up. And that's something to observe in your inspiration collection of photos, is how close it is, how far away. But it's not going to be just your headshot. Think about your website. Think about social media banners. One mistake that I did make with my last photo shoot is I didn't have my mother take them at an angle to where I had basically blank space to the left or the right of me, like a lot of space for a banner. If you have a graphic designer, they can, kind of expand that out and everything. But if you're wanting like a full banner to go across your Facebook page or across your website, like, the sites that they have this full banner across it and the author, the person is off to one side. That's one thing that I didn't do with my headshot, is have her do some shots that really had some blank space to one side. And so thinking through where these photos are going to go can help you make sure you get the right ones in the end. Number 5 is be prepared in advance to value everyone's time. So all of the things that I've been talking about, I want to drive home in this point. Picking your poses, picking your location, your props that you're going to use if you're going to have any, and just really getting everything together. If you're engaging a professional photographer and you're going to meet at a location, say you're doing an outdoor location, go there ahead of time, and if you can, and do some test photos to make sure you've got the right lighting and the background is okay for you to use, and just everything is in order prior to the photo shoot. I chose to do my 2023 photo shoot up in Oklahoma. So many of you know I live in Texas, but I'm a tribal member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. So we go there several times a year, and I knew I wanted to do my shoot up at our Capitol grounds in Tuskahoma, Oklahoma, and it's where our Capitol building that was built in the 1880s is still there. It's now a beautiful museum. I absolutely love that building. It's one of my favorite historical places. My 5th generation grandfather walked those halls, and it's just a really inspiring environment for me with the types of books that I write. There are also beautiful locations outdoors outside of the museum. Across the road is a village with chokas, which are Choctaw winter houses, replicas, and summer houses. There's also a man-made waterfall with big boulders and a bridge. So I knew Tuskahoma would just be a great place outdoors that I could get a lot of amazing shots at. So I was already very familiar with the location. I know the museum director there, so I called her ahead of time and asked permission and let her know what we would be doing. And she was, of course, down for it. We have shot film there and photos before, so she was completely good with that. So I had everything prepared ahead of time. It was in April, and it turned out to be a bit colder than I thought it would, but it still worked out. I picked my outfits And that's something else with thinking about your look and feel that I almost forgot. Be sure and pick out your outfits and take changes of clothes. You don't want to just do all of your photos in one set of clothes. You really want to have that option of using them in different places and in different ways. And if you don't have the option of changing, at least change up your outfit. So with guys or gals, you can have a jacket that you take off or on that can change up your look, or maybe some other accessories that give your photos that differentiation that you need to use them in a variety of places. But it's best to take a complete change of outfit if you can. And I actually took 3 sets of outfits for this particular photo shoot because one of the other things I did is there is a coffee shop just to the north of Tuskahoma in Tallahena, Oklahoma, called the Crystal Chandelier. And it's a beautiful spot in there, and they have a beautiful patio out back. And so I also wanted to get some photos there to use for my fictioncourses.com brand. And I knew I would also use ones from Tuskahoma, but I wanted to get that coffee house feel as well. And so I took some other outfits to be able to change and get the shots there for that. I also had my props. So I did actually have my computer with me. I just remembered that. So I had my computer, I had my phone, I got a hot chocolate. So I would have a coffee cup as a prop as well. Plus it was really good hot chocolate, and it was cold that morning. And then for my author shoot, which I ultimately didn't use this in my headshot, but I wanted a book. I wanted to get some of those contemplative photos of me just with a book, carrying a book, thumbing through a book, smelling a book, just some other fun shots that I could use in different ways with that shoot. So again, being prepared in advance, lining everything out, planning the details, especially if it's going to be a location outside of your home, which you can use your home for your photo shoot. You don't have to go somewhere and rent a studio or do something outdoors. If you have some good spots inside your home with some natural lighting, great place to do your author shoot. It can have a very authentic feel because this is your home. This is where you do your work. And I'm not talking about doing like shots at your desk per se, although you can have some of those for fun and behind the scene shots. Those are always really great to have, like on your contact page. Maybe you want a photo of you at your computer answering readers' emails. But just somewhere in your kitchen or your living room where you've got some good natural lighting and can get those shots in. Either way, if you're traveling somewhere for your photo shoot like I did, or if you are staying close to home, the last thing you can do to really plan and be prepared for your photo shoot is to get a good night's sleep. And preferably not just the night before, but several nights leading up to your photo shoot. Makeup and Photoshop can only go so far in eliminating the dark circles under your eyes and just the general fatigue that you'll have on your face if you haven't been getting good sleep leading up to your photo shoot. With us going up to Tuskahoma, it's a 3-hour drive from where we're at. So I got a hotel the night before, wonderful place called Hootie Creek, bed and breakfast. They don't serve breakfast there now, but it's a fantastic historic hotel. And all of these things just really put me in the mood and in the setting for my author headshot because I do write historical fiction, and so all of these pieces played a part in that. But we did stay there at Hootie Creek the night before so that we were able to get a good night's sleep. We didn't have to get up at 5 a.m. We were able to just sleep in and enjoy the atmosphere before we started the photo shoot. So doing a photo shoot can be really tiring. It can last for hours. And if you're just getting an author headshot, you can get one done pretty quickly. It won't take long for you to put on a nice outfit and get someone to take a shot of you standing outside leaned up against your house or something. But if you're really wanting to go the extra mile and get your photos in that can last you for a while, it's going to take some time. Allow a couple of hours to really get the shots in, allow yourself time to change into different outfits, to arrange your props, to get different types of poses in, from laughter to contemplative, and really make sure you get everything that you need. And so you don't want to start off your shoot tired. So be sure that you get a good night's sleep beforehand. All right, my friend, wrapping it up here on planning your author photo shoot, I just want to encourage you to be confident. You are an author. Let your light and your love of writing and reading just shine out in your photos, in your expressions, in your poses. Even if it is more contemplative or thriller look, just show that boldness and that confidence in yourself as an author in the stories that you write. When you look at the camera, think about your ideal reader enjoying your books and smile. Before I sign off here, I want to be sure and let you know that my dictation bootcamp is coming up this spring. I'm so excited for it. We're kicking off at the end of April. This is a live event where you get to come into Zoom with me and I will teach you how to get started in dictating your fiction. So we start at the very beginning. If you are tech challenged, if you are concerned about having to spend money on something like Dragon Dictate software, which hint, hint, you don't have to do that when you come into my boot camp. But if it's the technical challenges that are holding you back from dictating, you're just not sure how to get started on your phone or your computer with it, or if it's the mindset around dictating and you've tried it before and your brain just freezes up, you don't know how to write with your voice and get that out, this boot camp is for you. Like I said, we do it live and I give you assignments at the end of each session, each day, that you can take and implement right away to take concrete action steps toward dictating your next novel. The boot camp is not quite open for enrollment yet if you're listening to this episode as soon as it drops, but you can go and join the wait list so that you'll get my notification whenever it is open for enrollment. And you can do that over at fictioncourses.com/dictation bootcamp. All one word. That's all for this episode, my friend. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, take care.